1899, Lucknow. Raja Hari Prasad Singh is an esteemed royalty of Lucknow, a British loyalist who's been amply rewarded by them. A lavish lifestyle within a huge palace with a retinue of courtiers and servants. A collector of cars, leading the elitist Indians of the time, organizing hunts and picnics for governors and collectors. Raja Hari Prasad has 2 wives. The first wife bore him 2 sons and 2 daughters, while the second wife only a son. The eldest son Ranveer studied classics at Cambridge and has 2 daughters. The younger son Tanveen attended the bar at Cambridge and has 3 sons. The stepson Vikrant, though educated, is good for nothing, spending his time with courtesans, indulging in wine and revelry. The elder daughter Sita is married into a landed family of Patna. The second daughter is married into a family from Pune. Her husband is one of the first British Indian Army officers. Raja Hari Prasad also fathered an illegitimate son by a courtesan whom he supports but never accepts. Ranveer, the heir apparent, is close to the manager of the estate, a Muslim called Ghulam Nabi. His legal advisor is also a Muslim lawyer from Lucknow. It is Ranveer's eldest daughter's wedding. The ailing 70-year-old Hari Singh solemnizes the wedding and then dies. The struggle for succession and property begins. In this family, with its various strands and retainers, we witness the whole century. The saga of love stories unfolds against the backdrop of this momentous century. In the story of India.
At the turn of the century, Queen Victoria passed away, leaving the empire to King Edward at the height of its power. Lord Curzon was sent as the Viceroy to India. At the same time, Indian nationalism was gaining its strength from demand reforms. Whereas the Maharajas, intoxicated with opulence, extravagance and eccentricities, were puppets of the Britishers, Indian business was just evolving, and brave men with great vision were making an endeavor to replicate the successes of the Industrial Revolution in England. The Tatas in Bombay and the Birlas in Calcutta were sowing the seeds of India's economic growth. As the socio-political changes were taking place in the country, a scintillating love story set in the plush environs of Delhi was brewing between a well-educated Hindu boy from a prominent business family and his neighborhood sweetheart, a tender Puritan love that existed in an era of the Parda. The freedom struggle gained momentum with the arrival of Gandhi. The British were not ready to give in easily and resorted to violence to stop the emerging revolution, which led to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. The struggle for Swaraj gained momentum in the 20s with the non-cooperation movement. The boycott of the Simon Commission and the civil disobedience campaign all added a sense of turmoil in the country, giving rise to martyrs like Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru. A new threat to the fabric of the nation appears in the form of communalism and religious fundamentalism. The rise of the film industry saw the first silent feature film, Alamara, which became a blockbuster. The birth of modernism in India is showcased through Rabindranath Tagore's paintings, poetries, and writings, and the creation of Shantiniketan. On the other hand, the British had a grand vision of developing India for the future. Their meticulous planning, vision, technology-driven approach, combined with their cunning divide and rule idea, was milking India dry. It is the time that Gandhiji called for the Quit India movement. This forms the backdrop of a heart-rending love story between a Hindu boy and a Muslim girl, creating a conflict between religions, customs, and society. As the decade of the 40s enters its second half, there is hope, expectation, and finally exultation as India gains independence. A free India is finally celebrated by the new Prime Minister Nehru with his famous Tryst with Destiny speech.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny at the stroke of the midnight hour. When the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
But dark clouds hang over the horizon. Partition is the price the subcontinent has to pay for freedom. Slaughter and mayhem follow the early days of freedom. And Gandhiji is assassinated. Nehru turned India into a fortress. Imports were stopped and self-industry, energy, dams, roads, and infrastructure began. The business front saw the dramatic rise of the Birlas, the Bajajas, and the Goenkas. On the aesthetic side, we see art taking a new direction. Hussain, Bakre, Raza, Souza, Gade, and Ara come together to form the Progressive Artists Group. The film industry found new grounds with landmark films like Mother India and the introduction of melody and clean romance in films like Annadi and Shri Char As India begins to emerge as a developing country, a new love story emerges within the environs of a large business family. The discrimination between the wealthy and poor comes to the fore as it adds conflict to the beauty. There are rumblings on the northern border with China. An ill-equipped Indian army has to fight in the most rigorous terrains of the world. It's a humbling experience and one that shatters the faith of a prime minister. Indira Gandhi took over after the death of her father, carrying out his vision with an uncompromising attitude and ambition. The rise of the coterie and strengthening nexus of power between politicians and bureaucrats sheds light on the beginnings of the rot setting into free India. The lessons from the Chinese aggression paved the way for a better equipped armed force which crushed the Pakistani offensive of 1965 and 1971. Indian films witnessed a golden music era with legends like Muhammad Rafi, Mukesh and Kishore Kumar. The 70s witnessed strikes, civil unrest in the northeastern states and peasant uprisings which led to the declaration of emergency. A new breed of political and economic leaders take over. Corruption becomes the order of the day. This socio-economic climate is reflected on the Indian film industry, which saw the end of clean romance and the birth of the angry young man who defied the system. The love story that originates in this time is caught in the turmoil as the younger generation openly opposes the old values with more pragmatic plans. Love slowly begins to take the backseat as money and power become important. The political gamesmanship comes to a climax with the assassination of Mrs. Gandhi. The country is going through a metamorphosis as an inexperienced and nubile man takes over the reins passed down by fate rather than choice. On the one hand, there's a burgeoning middle class, eager for new homes, new gadgets, new styles of living and enjoying. On the other side of the spectrum are the dispossessed, deprived and angry. Cities are overcrowded with festering slums. The Bhopal gas leak underlines all that has gone wrong. The Indian economy is in shambles. The 1990s are cataclysmic. Another prime minister is murdered in a new way, a human suicide bomb. The bomb blasts in Mumbai add to the sense of crisis. As the century comes to an end, India once again shows its potential. Information technology, the new mantra, is the stuff young people's dreams are made of these days. And of course, the dreams continue with beauty contests, fashion shows, and TV serials. Films with chocolate romances have found a market abroad and rejuvenated the industry. Miss World pageants, a successful nuclear test, the victory at Kargil, the rise of the BJP from 2 seats to 177 seats in the parliament, an Olympic medal, Nobel Prizes in literature and economics, and a possible Oscar.
The emergence of a strong regional power under the leadership of Mulayam Singh Yadav and Amar Singh with secular credentials
show India as a nation that is finally on the verge of being a superpower. The country is now awash with goods and services from all over the world due to globalization. A love story is trying to emerge within the furious space influenced by Western cultures, where sex, drugs, and violence are the deciding factors. Will this love story withstand the test of the 21st century? Will we find our past glory back? Will true love survive?